Hello, everyone. This is the Shawn1113 podcast show. Recording this podcast and this episode on April 21st, 2026. Thank you so much for listening, wherever you may be, wherever platform you're listening to, anywhere and everywhere in the world. And with that, a reminder, please comment below if you at Shawn47k@gmail.com and on Spotify creators as well. With that, we got a lot going on, the NHL, NBA playoffs. A lot. I mean, like I said, we're early in those to that, but I guarantee you, it hopefully it gets exciting. Pretty much excitement. So we'll see what happens there. Maybe I'll talk more about it eventually, but right now it's in the early stages right now. NHL and NBA. Number two, Major League Baseball. Let me bring it up for 1 second. Bear with me here for a second, but it's it's relatively early. We're almost to the first month of the regular season there. The season there. I'm trying to bring this up to be honest with you. So right now, Yankees, Orioles in a tight one is not that far on the American League. Again, I said it before. I'll say it again. The AL East, in my opinion, is the toughest division to win in baseball. AL Central, the All Star break anyway. Athletics, Rangers, Angels in the American League West. Mariners, nobody's that far. Like I said, it's early. Braves in the National League East over the Marlins, Nationals. Phillies are struggling some. What is going on with the Phillies? Mets are really sliding. Oh, and with a 10 with a 10 game. Wow. NL Central, Reds, Cubs, Pirates, Cardinals. No, I mean within 2 games of each other. That might be the most competitive race in the league. And then Dodgers, Padres playing us. 9 of their last 10. So, but the Dodgers still lead though, so we'll see what happens there. But that's the Major League Baseball standings right now. I'm looking at the English Premier standings, and things have gotten really interesting there. With Man City having that 2-0 win, that was a huge win. Is Arsenal, and the question becomes: is Arsenal beginning to collapse? Is melting down to the point that they may lose the league. And if Man City keeps winning, they're not going to. Again, Man City, I got to admit, they're not going to have the easiest schedule themselves because Aston Villa is fourth. They're trying to make it to the Champions League. Aston Villa. You got Man United. Congratulations on that. They'll probably make it to the Champions League if they hold off Liverpool. And both teams got to hold off Liverpool. Cool. Um, Coffee. Anyway, it's going to be very interesting down the stretch. Plus, they got one more. I mean, Man City has one more game they had to postpone. So we'll see what happens there. It probably might come down to the last kick. Arsenal might have the easy. Let me look at Arsenal with the Premier League title on the line. League title on the line. Let me see right here. Newcastle, not easy. Newcastle, Burnley, Palace. This is not going to be easy. West Ham might be playing for not to get the regular in the first place on May 10th. Uh, Newcastle, I know they're in the Champions League as well, so they're doing much better there. But hmm, I'm looking at it. They're in the quarterfinals there. Newcastle, West Ham, Palace, Burnley. They should win at least two or three of that. So we'll see what happens. Man City, in the meantime, does not have. They got one game, but they do not have the easiest one. They're going to have the hardest one right here. Let me see. Let me see. Bear with me, folks. Hope everybody's having a great time wherever you are, wherever you may be. Um, I hope you're safe out there. Safe out there. Hopefully you're safe out there. To be honest. 10 should beat Southampton. Bournemouth, not the easy one. Brentford is the tougher than you Palace, and the harder one is going to be. So that's their schedule there. And then you're trying not to, and the rest, you're trying not to be 18th. Is Nottingham Forest eventually safe? I think if you're 39, if you're 15, if you have 39 points, you probably be safe unless you collapse. Nottingham Forest, West Ham, and Tottenham. Um, I, ooh, man, can is Tottenham even going to make it? I don't know. They've lost their they've lost they've lost their last five. They've drawn three of the last five. They've drawn two in West Ham. But like I said, now the last two for West Ham, Tottenham. And if Nottingham Forest, but again, if Nottingham Forest still, Nottingham Forest keeps winning or even drawing, they probably will be safe. Now, that is world football. Of course, FIFA World Cup is coming up pretty soon with that. So I do want to talk about, of course, let us switch up to the NFL. Give me 1 second with coffee. Let's now go to the National Football League draft coming up. Honestly, I will be the most surprised person if they don't pick Fernando Mendoza, the Raiders. I mean, you got things. You got him set. You got the veteran quarterback and Kirk Cousins set. I know you got a lot of they got a lot of holds, but they got a lot of they gotta set up the quarterback. Let Kirk Cousins come. Now, I mean, I think the Raiders plan to get Kirk Cousins for a couple of years, groom, get Fernando Mendoza to eventually become the quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders and take it from there. I would be shocked if they don't take Mendoza because things could get really interesting from there. I think Reese will go to the Jets, and I believe Love will go on the third round or the fourth. Because once that happens, go, once those three players are picked, it's a crapshoot. Things can get very interesting from that point on. But I think Mendoza, Reese, and Love might be the first three, or David Bailey. I think the first four. Let me rephrase that. I think the first four um, is going to be pretty much will be there. Other than it, 5 to 30, you take your guess. As a Dolphins fan, take your guess. Um, to me, either they're going to get an offensive lineman from Malik Willis to protect Malik Willis, or they're going to get a receiver to to for Malik Willis to throw to. But either way, it's around Malik Willis, regardless who might drop, who my Dolphins pick. So that's my opinion about it. Um, Cowboy fans are moaning and wailing about, oh, we got to get a quarterback. We got to get a quarterback because we have to make sure. You'll probably get a defensive end unless you trade up. Cornerback too, yes. Cardinal taking Rams. That's not a bad idea. And then the Dexter Lawrence trade to Cincinnati. Um, Probably an upgrade from Hutchinson going to Baltimore. He's a Trey Hutchinson replacement, but Lawrence is a good. Dexter Lawrence is a good defensive end though. So I think they upgraded the Cincinnati. I think, in my opinion, they upgraded their defensive end position by making that trade. Just like Baltimore defense, like Baltimore upgraded with Henderson. So so it evened itself out in my opinion. So now, um, baseball, basketball, with that. So the NFL draft coming up this week. So get ready. In my opinion, you gotta get Will Howard a chance to quarterback these Pittsburgh series and see what happens. Tennis pretty soon with the French Open. Is Alcatraz be the one to win the men's and I think it's more wide open for the women. Golf, PGA Championship pretty soon. We'll see what happens there when that occurs. Oh, let me talk about WrestleMania for a moment, especially night one. Night two was night two was much better than night one for sure. Night one, oof, what a cluster. I think if you didn't put the celebrities in that main event between Orton and Rhodes, that would have been a much better match. Because what a mess with Pat McAfee. There was no need. You know, um, celebrities when they're in doses will be fine, but too much will water down a lot of things. So, in my opinion, although Punk and Cody Rhodes, I heel CM Punk, I welcome that, and I also welcome Fatu versus Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship, just to change things up. It's not a bad idea. Now, is Brock Lesnar retired after WrestleMania 42? It seems that way. It seems that way. Um, but you got to also remember. Somebody point this out that it's diverculitis is. Remember, he has diverculitis, and remember, he almost died in 2009 of that. So I wonder if that's an issue. I say we don't know. We don't know, but that might be one of those issues. Might be a health related issue. Might be a career issue. I mean, Brock Lesnar knows this better than. I mean, that's up to Brock Lesnar. He's earned that. He's earned to go wherever he wants to go, bro. Having over family go over clean is a beautiful. That was the right move. It really was. As a book, if I were Book, I would have done the same thing. It makes Oba family look like a massive star, a massive star. Now, can he go on for more than 10 minutes though? We'll see. AEW as well. We'll see what happens with Darby Allin as champion. I'm talking about wrestling because I'm trying to see. I don't watch a whole lot now like I used to when I was a kid. But when it was Mid Atlantic Championship Wrestling, but I do get clips and all that other stuff, so they get a good sense. Let me also respond to one other thing about this Mike Bravo Diana Rossini mess. Oh, what a mess! What a mess! Now Robert Kraft. Now it's be real Robert. excuse me, that Robert Kraft. This is coming out of like a soap opera, isn't it? Old time soap opera. Um, what a mess. And Rossini, oof. And both are married. Both are currently married too. And yet that happened. What is? I have a question. I have a general question that has nothing to do with sports. What is the biggest waste of what? What costs more, the wedding or the divorce, or is it equal? Let me repeat that again. What costs you more, the wedding, the divorce, or both? Because somebody brought this up, and it made me think that they were saying they were single, and I'm single, and they were saying, and she was saying it was the biggest waste of time. That she, in her opinion, that weddings are the biggest waste of money. This is what she told me. And no, it has nothing to do with work, just to be clear. But she said it was on YouTube. It was the biggest waste of money and the biggest waste of time. And but I think also you know, it's a very compelling point. A very compelling point. Maybe probably get married if you. Some people might want to get married and just have this and have that, or pretty much simply out of a courthouse, a few bucks here or there. So, is the divorce cost you more, or is it equal when it generally comes down to it? So, given the response to the Bravo Rossini mess, it would cost them. It's not going to cost Bravo. It's not costing Bravo, but it's certainly costing Rossini, and she's married too. So, what if a person's not happy with the fantasy, and when reality truly hits them in the face? I, well, what else can I tell you? It has something to do with sports, but still, it has this trickle down effect on family, spouses, and all that. I feel sorry for the spouses, to be honest with you, and the kids. In that case, usually are. And by the way, the scumbag that unalived those 8 kids in Louisiana, he already went to hell. Trust me. 8 kids, you just ended the life of 8 kids, and this scumbag father, who was too much of a coward to face it by unaliving himself. I don't know what to say other than my other than the fact that I feel bad for the family. I honestly feel bad for the family of those kids, the mother of those kids, or the baby mama. I don't know, but that's tragic. Honestly, tragic, to be honest, and that's even an understatement. If you haven't looked, check that out when you have a chance. But that is, I just shake my head on that one, really and truly. With that, enjoy whatever sports you listen. And by the way, also one other thing, tabletop sports. I'm still doing it right now. Got a lot of stuff a lot of free stuff called Fourth Court Baseball by Power Blue Sports, created on John Turbo. That's been exciting. Um, I'm probably have to link that. There and the unique part about that game is those segments: 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 8, and the ninth inning were extras. It's real quick, about 5 to 10 minutes on that. Then payoff pitch baseball on the PC. even with the demo. Football, fast track football with the fast drive time by powder blue, play action football, sports, tabletop sports gaming. So that hobby is doing good and strong, and I enjoy it. And and to be honest, I enjoy it. Just like this podcast. I enjoy the outlet and I enjoy the whole thing out of there and just enjoying it when you're by yourself or with another person. And with that, now I just want to go on a high note anyway. With that, that is the Shawn1113 podcast show for April 21st, 2026. If you love this content, give 5 stars. Please consider putting a 5-star rating. Contact me at Shawn47K. Email me at Shawn47K at gmail.com or at SpotifyCareers.com. Thank you for listening to the Shawn1113 podcast show. Please stay encouraged no matter what. Live your life as normal as possible in an abnormal world and question everything and anything. Thank you so much. God bless you.